Okay, the ingredients you're going to need: 2 large onions chopped, a 12-ounce package of salt pork, 2 9-ounce packages of original roast chicken breast, carved chicken breast, and chicken broth, 2 48-ounce, 1 32-ounce, and 1 26-ounce chicken stock. And you'll need a big pan and your juicer. Alright, we'll get started. I forgot. 10 pounds of peeled potatoes ready to go into your juicer. Alright, first thing to do, put all your chicken stock and chicken broth into the pan, get it to a boil. Okay, while you're waiting for your chicken stock to come to a boil, cut up your salt pork into slices just like so. Have a nice hot frying pan, and what we're going to do is just cook it to render off all the fat off the salt pork. Alright, we'll let this go and then we'll come back. Alright, our chicken stock has come to a boil. What we're going to do is add the 2 cups of chopped onion, steam flash. Alright, just mix it around, and we're just going to let that simmer and let the onions get nice and soft. The salt pork is still frying, and I'll show you that when that's done, what we're going to do with this. Alright, now that the stock has come back to a nice simmer, the onions are getting soft, we're going to add about 2 tablespoons of black pepper. Mix that around and just let that cook up. Just keep it simmering, and next, after the bacon's done, the salt pork rather, we're going to start doing the potatoes. Alright, as you can see, the salt pork, all the fat that's come off, there's quite a bit of fat that's in that pan. We're going to be using that later in the base underneath the potatoes. Just before the bacon gets, the salt pork gets real crispy, what we're going to do is remove it from the heat, just take the salt pork out of here and set it aside. That's what we're going to dress on top of the pie after it's all put together. So we're ready to take this off the heat. And let's just get a little dish to pull that salt pork out of that fat. Just keep the fat in the pan. Alright, once we get this done, next step, get our oven going. We're going to set it at 350 degrees and preheat the oven, get it all ready for once we get this put together. Alright, now we're going to start shredding the potatoes. Now this is the part you have to move pretty quick on because you don't want your potatoes to turn brown on you. As you put your potatoes in, your liquid's going to come out on this side, your pulp's going to go on this side. So just keep track of exactly how many liquids come out, because we're going to have to put that much liquid back into the potato, and that's what we're going to use the chicken broth with the onion in. going to shut the machine off. My pitcher is full here. We're going to stop it. And then I have another pitcher that I'm just going to pour it into, and I'll just keep track. So I got one, and then we're going to keep on going. Pulp shouldn't be that full. Now we can probably get almost the whole 10 pounds right into the bin. We're going to keep on going. Up again, I'm full. I got 2 cups of liquid. I think my pulp is just about full too. You can get a few more. Actually, I'll get the whole thing. I only got 5 potatoes left. Alright, all my potatoes are shredded. I ended up with 2.5 liquid out of mine. So we got well over a half a gallon of liquid out of the 10 pounds of potatoes. Alright, I took my pulp out of the pulp bin, dumped it into a big tray. What we're going to do now, there's going to be some bigger chunks of potatoes. We're just going to pull those out most we can, and then we're going to be adding chicken broth in to reconstitute these potatoes back. As you can see, the potatoes are already starting to turn a little on the red side, but that ain't bad. That's normal. And once we put the hot chicken broth in there, it's going to scald these potatoes and stop them from turning brown, and they'll actually turn like that grayish white color. So I'm going to just continue to get my potatoes out, and I'll be right back. Alright, got all my chunks of potato out, the big chunks, so now I'm going to start putting in my broth that's been simmering on the stove. We're just going to pour that in there, then we're going to get a spoon, mix this all about, and then we'll be ready for the next step. Alright, this is what the potato is looking like. I only got 1.5 of the chicken broth in here, so I still got to do about another one of those cups, maybe a little more, and I'll show you what the consistency should look like when we're ready to put this thing together. So I'm just going to keep mixing, add my broth, and I'll show you what the end product of the potato looks like. But as you can see, the color stopped turning from the last time it was on. It was probably about 4 or 5 minutes, so the potatoes won't turn on you no more. They're cooked now. So we'll be back. Alright, I just added another half cup. I'll have about another half cup to go. I don't try to drown it all at one time. I'll do like a half a cup at a time until I get up to the amount of cups that I used. But I'll just keep mixing until I get it well mixed, get all the liquid out of there. So, I mean, it's almost getting there. You see, it's still a little clumpy. We want it a little looser than that. So I'm going to mix this around a little more, and then I'm going to add my last half cup, and then we'll start assembling the pie. Alright, got all my chicken broth in. It's all done. It's a nice consistent texture. Now I'm just going to add some more salt and pepper into this, just a taste. I mean, you taste it now, you get that Rappie Pie flavor. Salt I don't go too heavy on because you're going to pick up a lot of flavor from the salt pork that we cooked up, the fat. That's where you're going to get a lot of that from. Maybe about a teaspoon of salt, and I'll add maybe another tablespoon of black pepper. Mix that around, and then I'll show you how we put it together. Alright, I'm using one of these aluminum pans. That's what I usually use when I make it. It's probably 9 by 13 by about 2-3 inches deep. Now, the fat that we had from the salt pork, what we're going to do is pour about half of it in there, and we're just going to roll around the pan, get it coated on the whole bottom. We want it probably about the thickness. Let's go a little more, maybe 3/4 of the fat we're going to put in there, cover the whole bottom. Alright, now I get the same pitcher that I used. We're going to just layer the potato on the bottom. We're going to put about 1 inch on the bottom. A little bit more. Alright. We got that. Just spread it out. You'll see the fat that we put in there coming up the sides. Okay, so now this is when we're going to throw the chicken on. Got the chicken, we're just going to throw it on top. Cover it up. I use about 1 bag of the chicken right now, and then I'll use the second bag. My stove was dinging to me. I got one of those new induction cooktops. So, alright. So we got chicken in there. Now we're going to do another layer of potato. This time not so deep, just enough to cover the chicken. Use the spoon, just cover it up. Alright, got the chicken all covered. Now we're going to get the rest of the chicken, put another layer of chicken in there. Like so. And now the rest of the potato we're just going to put on top, cover it up. And this top layer will be about 1 inch, just like the first layer. And when it's all said and done, that pan should be filled right up to the very top. Okay. Okay, we got it all done. I just have a little bit of potato left, so not too much. Maybe 2 spoonfuls left. Now the salt pork that we had before, we're just going to put those on the top. I usually put 4 across. That way every time you cut a slice you're going to have a piece of salt pork on the top, and the rest of the fat's going to drip down into the rappie pie, and that's what gives it that salty flavor. Alright, used up all my salt pork. Put it in the oven for 3 hours and we'll show you what it looks like when it comes out. Alright, we're 3 hours later. Let's see what the rappie pie looks like. I do put a cookie sheet underneath just in case a little bubbles over, but there it is, nice and brown. Basically you want it to sit for a couple hours if you can to stiffen up. You don't want to dive right into it. I know you want to, but you can't. It's always best the second day around. Well, hope you enjoy, hope you try. Love you. Bye.